You really think you were the only one? That was the sentence, sharp, careless, almost amused, that sliced straight through the last thread holding my marriage together. And before we get started, be sure to subscribe to Family Tales by Ethan so you never miss out on these fascinating stories. And let us know what you're watching today in the comments. I'm Michael Turner, 36, born and raised in Oregon, now sitting in a bland mediation office over in downtown Seattle, where the fluorescent lights hummed just loud enough to worsen the headache pulsing behind my eyes. My wife, well, soon-to-be ex-wife, Alyssa, 33, sat across from me in that stiff government-issue chair as if she were lounging on a sofa somewhere glamorous. Her confidence radiated in waves, the kind only a person with secrets, and the belief that those secrets are safe forever, could project. 7 years of marriage ending in a room that smelled faintly of old carpet, stale coffee, and someone else's exhaustion. The mediator, an older guy named Daniel Pierce, was droning through the checklist about asset division. His voice was this monotone hum, something between a tired judge and a bored accountant, when Alyssa suddenly cut him off. "Can we just skip to the part where I get what I deserve?" she said, leaning back, crossing one leg over the other with almost theatrical impatience. "This is taking forever." I didn't respond. I'd learned, over the past 2 years, that Alyssa thrived on reactions, anger, shock, anything that confirmed her control over the narrative. Silence annoyed her more than any insult would. She scoffed, flicking her hair off her shoulder. "I mean, we both know this marriage has been dead for years, right? Let's not pretend otherwise. Let's split things fairly and move on." Daniel cleared his throat, shifting awkwardly. "Mr. Turner, Mrs. Turner raises a valid point. Perhaps we should." "I agree," I interrupted softly, folding my hands on the table. "Let's discuss what fair looks like." Alyssa smirked, satisfied. Finally, some common sense. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a slim folder. The offer I'd drafted after weeks of going over finances, advice, and more sleepless nights than I could count. My pulse thudded as I slid it toward her. She opened it, skimmed page 1, and her smile widened instantly. "Oh," she said with a laugh, a light, tinkling sound that used to charm me, but now only grated. "You're giving me the house? And you're keeping the condo? Wow, Michael, you really did love me, didn't you?" Something in my chest tightened, a heavy, familiar ache. "I did," I said quietly. She tilted her head, studying me like some unfortunate case study in emotional fragility. "You really think you're the only one who felt that way?" she asked, almost playfully. Daniel fidgeted, sensing the tension thickening the room. My breath stalled somewhere between anger and resignation. I reached again into my briefcase and pulled out the second folder, a thicker one, heavier in every way that mattered. For a moment, I held it, feeling the weight of every page, every photograph, every timestamp that had detonated my entire world. Then I slid it across the table. "You were right," I said, my voice level and strangely distant, like I was listening to myself from somewhere far away. "I did think you were my everything." Past tense. Her smirk faltered. She opened the folder. The first page hit her like a slap. The second drained the color from her face. By page 4, her hand trembled. By page 6, she was breathing too hard, too fast, like the walls were closing in. Daniel leaned over. "Is this a private investigator's report?" "Yes," I replied, keeping my tone steady. "Dated surveillance over the last 8 months. For different affair partners over the past 2 years. Locations, receipts, photos, documented patterns. Everything." Alyssa's lips parted, a small gasp escaping before she seemed to catch herself. You had me followed?" "I had my wife followed," I corrected gently. "When she started coming home at midnight smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. When she suddenly needed to work late at a job that doesn't require overtime. When her phone, after 7 years of being unlocked, became password protected overnight." Daniel exhaled slowly, flipping through the pages as if each one carried more weight than the last. Alyssa snapped the folder shut, her cheeks blotched red. "This is invasion of privacy," she spat. "Actually," I replied, "my attorney confirmed it's perfectly legal. No expectation of privacy in public spaces, vehicles, or hotel parking lots." She shot to her feet, the metal legs of her chair screeching across the floor. "I want a different mediator," she snapped. "This is ridiculous. He's trying to make me look bad." No, I said. I'm providing documentation. Big difference. Daniel adjusted his glasses, flustered. Mrs. Turner, perhaps we should take a short recess so both parties can. New information? She screeched, her voice cracking. He's been spying on me. This is harassment. It's evidence, I said softly. Collected by a licensed professional. She grabbed her purse, slinging it over her shoulder with more force than necessary. We're done, she said sharply. I'm calling my lawyer. Of course. I nodded. You do that. She paused at the door, fury burning in her eyes. You're not getting away with this. Getting away with what? I asked, finally letting the exhaustion seep into my voice. Finding out the truth. For a second, she looked like she might throw something, her purse, the folder, maybe even herself at me. But instead she spun, yanked open the door, and stormed out, the heavy slam echoing through the room. Daniel leaned back, exhaling a breath he'd clearly been holding. Well, he said weakly, that was unexpected. Not the affairs, I murmured, gathering my documents. Those I knew about. The laughing part, that caught me off guard. He nodded, still dazed. I suggest giving your attorney these documents immediately. He already has the full report, I said. What you saw was the summary. The full version is 63 pages. Daniel blinked, stunned. I see. As I stood, sliding the folders back into my briefcase, something settled inside me. Not peace, exactly, but a sense of direction. A path out of the fog I'd been stumbling through for far too long. She thought I was blind. She thought I was weak. Now she knows better. If there's one thing people never warn you about when you uncover the truth, it's how loud the silence becomes afterward. Not the dramatic kind you see in movies, just the simple, heavy quiet of knowing something irreversible has already happened, and that whatever comes next will make the shock of discovery feel almost gentle. The week after mediation was exactly that, loud silence punctured by chaos. On the first day alone, Alyssa called me 36 times. 36. My phone lit up so often it felt like a strobe light in my apartment. The voicemails came in waves, first apologetic, then angry, then tearful, then back to threatening. I didn't respond to a single one. Instead, I forwarded every message, every missed call, every voicemail straight to my lawyer, Jonathan Reyes, a calm, sharp man in his 40s whose confidence seemed to grow with every frantic message Alyssa sent. Jonathan called me that evening, voice tinged with almost amused disbelief. They're claiming the PI report was obtained illegally, he said. Alyssa's lawyer is pushing hard. I almost laughed. Of course they are. But don't worry, he continued. I sent them the licensing documentation and legal precedent. They quieted down real fast. That silence lasted 6 hours. Then the entitlement arrived. It started with the pounding on my apartment door. Loud. Unrelenting. I checked the peephole and sighed. Alyssa's mother, Karen Wells, stood there, her expression a mix of rage and righteousness, traits she'd perfected long before I ever entered their family. I opened the door just enough to be polite, but not enough to invite the storm inside. Michael Turner, she snapped, you owe my daughter an apology. For what? I asked. Documenting her affairs? You hired a man to stalk her, she yelled. To humiliate her. This is abuse. It's legal evidence collection, I replied. Surveillance in public places is completely within the law. She made mistakes, her mother screeched. She was vulnerable. And you were always working, always gone, never paying attention to her needs. That one actually made a bitter laugh slip out before I could stop it. I was working, I said, because Alyssa quit her job 2 years ago to find herself. I've been covering every bill, her car, her credit cards, the mortgage, while she was finding herself in hotel rooms with 4 different men. Karen turned beet red, her lips trembling with a mix of fury and denial. You are twisting everything. My daughter deserves better than you. She always has. Then maybe those men can support her, I replied calmly. With their own money. Not mine. Her voice pitched up so high it nearly cracked. You cold-hearted. I closed the door before she could finish, locked it, and listened to her scream through the wood for another 5 minutes before she finally gave up. My phone buzzed. A message from Alyssa. We need to talk. Please. Just us. Screenshot. Forward to Jonathan. His reply came fast. Don't respond. Not to anything that isn't through legal channels. The next morning, Her lawyer filed an emergency motion claiming I was withholding marital funds, restricting Alyssa's access to finances. Jonathan called me laughing. They're desperate, he said. They know the PI report is devastating. She has access to her own account, I said. The one I've been depositing money into for 2 years. How much is in there right now? About 8,000. There was a beat of stunned silence. 8,000, he repeated. And she's claiming financial abuse. Yep. Jonathan exhaled. Oh, this is going to be fun. I sent him her bank statements. Months of withdrawals and charges to restaurants, boutiques, and, of course, the same hotels listed in the PI's timeline. Jonathan practically salivated over the receipts. He filed a counter motion, attaching everything, carefully highlighted. Then things got darker. Alyssa started calling my parents. She told them I'd been abusive for years, that she was terrified of me, that hiring a PI was proof that I was controlling and dangerous. My mom called me, her voice trembling. Michael, this isn't true, right? None of it, I said. She's flipping the narrative. She sounded so scared, Mom whispered. She's scared of losing the house and spousal support. I replied. Not me. I sent them the summary PI report. My dad called back an hour later. Jesus, son. Yeah. Your mother wants to talk. Mom got on the line. I'm sorry. I should have known better. She always did play the victim. It's okay. It's not, she snapped. She tried to paint you as an abuser. That is not okay. Next came Alyssa's sister, who tried a gentler angle. Maybe you guys could just talk, she suggested. You know she still loves you. She loves my paycheck, I said. That's not fair. 4 affairs in 2 years, I replied. What part of that looks like love to you? She didn't have an answer. By the time the hearing for the financial motion rolled around, Alyssa had transformed herself into the perfect image of a wounded, fragile wife. Conservative dress, hair tied neatly, minimal makeup, eyes downcast, theatrics at their finest. Her lawyer gave a heartfelt speech about her supposed hardship. Jonathan stood, straightened his tie, and destroyed them with 3 sheets of bank statements and a neatly printed timeline. The judge stared at Alyssa, unimpressed. You're claiming poverty while maintaining an $8,000 balance and spending hundreds on hotel rooms. Her lawyer sputtered. The judge denied the motion instantly. Outside the courthouse, Alyssa cornered me in the parking lot. You're really doing this? She hissed. You're really going to destroy me over a few mistakes? 4 affairs are not mistakes, I said. I was lonely. You were always working. Get a hobby, I replied. Not 4 boyfriends. Her eyes narrowed to slits. You think you're perfect? You think you're better than me? No, I said. Just faithful. She stepped close, her voice low and venomous. You're going to regret this. No, I said. I already regret wasting 2 years trying to fix something you were sabotaging. Her jaw flexed. She turned on her heel and stormed off. But she wasn't done, not even close. Because the next phase was smear campaign mode. And that was when the real war began. There's a strange kind of numbness that settles in when a person decides to burn your entire life down on their way out. It's not shock anymore, not fear, not pain. It's something quieter, something colder. Like watching a building collapse from behind thick glass, knowing you can't stop it, and realizing, somewhere deep inside, you don't even want it anymore. That was me in the weeks after Alyssa's smear campaign hit full speed. She started with our mutual friends, blasting them with paragraphs about my emotional neglect, my financial control, how she tried everything while I refused to be a husband. According to her version, I wasn't documenting infidelity. I was stalking her, monitoring her every move, using illegally obtained evidence to destroy her. 5 friends believed her immediately. 5 people I'd known for years, birthdays, barbecues, double dates. They never once asked me for my side. They just blocked me or sent a final message dripping with judgment. Honestly, good riddance. The real friends, the ones who actually knew me, called instead of accusing. My college friend, Ryan, phoned one night. Dude, he said, your wife just sent me this essay about how controlling you are. Want to tell me what's actually going on? I emailed him the PI summary. 5 minutes later, he texted back. Holy F *ing hell. ***. Yeah, 4 affairs. 2 years. Hundreds of lies I only realized in hindsight. She's trying to paint you as the bad guy, Ryan said when he called again. That's honestly impressive. Psychotic, but impressive. Apparently she's persuasive, I said. You holding up? A question I'd heard a lot recently. A question that should have hurt more than it did. I'm getting there, I told him. And I meant it. But Alyssa wasn't finished. Not even close. She went after her own family next, twisting the story, flipping the facts, shaping herself into a tragic martyr while I became some cold, manipulative monster. Her narrative ranged wildly. I was emotionally abusive, financially controlling, dangerous, unstable, obsessed with monitoring her, all because she wanted to leave. Her father, a stern retired Air Force Master Sergeant, called me from Arizona. I'm hearing concerning things, he said. I'm sure you are. He asked if I'd been hiding money, if I'd been controlling, if I'd really been stalking her. No, sir, I said. Every account is documented. Full financial transparency. She has access to her own bank account with $8,000 in it. She says you treated her like a child, gave her an allowance. I supported her, I said evenly. She quit her job. I covered everything. The allowance was for her personal spending. He was quiet. And the affairs? Documented, I said. 4 partners. 2 years. Photographs. Timeline. Receipts. He let out a long exhale, the kind people make when the truth finally crushes denial. Send me what you sent your parents. An hour later, he called me back, voice low. She lied to my face, he said. Repeatedly. I'm sorry, Michael. I appreciate that. But her mother, he added, won't take this well. I know, I said dryly. She already found me. He sighed. She's always protected Alyssa too much. Still does. For what it's worth, he added quietly, you deserved better. Hearing that from him, a man who never gave compliments lightly, hit harder than I expected. Meanwhile, my lawyer Jonathan was preparing for the next battle. Alyssa filed a motion to claim the house, insisting she'd been the primary homemaker. But homemaker implies, well, homemaking. Jonathan asked, did she handle the cooking? No, I did. Cleaning. We had a cleaning service. Grocery shopping? Bills. Scheduling. I handled most of it, I said. He hummed, satisfied. Perfect. Send me receipts. 2 years of invoices from the cleaning company. Dozens of photos of dinners I'd cooked. Grocery receipts with my card info. Records meticulously matching reality. Her motion was denied without argument. She tried going after my retirement accounts next, claiming she supported my career. Jonathan nearly snorted. She quit her job to find herself. The court won't buy that. Then she went nuclear. She filed for a restraining order, claimed I threatened her, harassed her, followed her, that she feared for her safety, that the PI was part of a pattern of abuse. The hearing was brutal, not because I feared losing, but because watching someone you once trusted weaponize lies with that level of conviction does something to you. Something permanent. Alyssa cried on the stand. Real tears or practiced ones. I genuinely couldn't tell anymore. She talked about being terrified, about feeling watched, about being emotionally suffocated. Jonathan stood, holding a stack of documents. Your Honor, my client has not contacted the petitioner outside legal channels. Here are phone records proving that. Here is security footage showing her mother yelling at him at his residence, not the other way around. Here is the PI's licensing documentation and legal precedent establishing the investigation as lawful. The judge's expression hardened. Mrs. Turner, she said, do you have any evidence that your husband threatened or harassed you? Alyssa stammered, glancing desperately at her attorney. The judge repeated, slower, colder. Any actual evidence? Her lawyer started mumbling about psychological impact. The judge cut him off. That is not grounds for a restraining order. Request denied. Alyssa shot to her feet, face blazing red. This is unbelievable. He's been stalking me. Mrs. Turner, the judge snapped sharply. I suggest you stop making false allegations in my courtroom before I consider sanctions. And that was that. Outside, her lawyer approached Jonathan. Can we discuss settlement? Finally. But the first offer they made was laughable. 3 years of spousal support at $2,000 a month, her keeping the house, 50% of my retirement. Jonathan didn't even blink. Absolutely not. We countered with reality. House sold. Proceeds split based on my higher financial contribution. No spousal support due to infidelity. Each keeps their own accounts. I keep my retirement. She keeps her car. They'll never accept that, her lawyer argued. Jonathan shrugged. Then we go to trial. And every detail, every affair, every receipt, every photo, becomes public record. Her lawyer paled. Negotiations dragged for 2 weeks. Alyssa fought over everything, even the cats. But slowly, inevitability chipped away at her stubbornness. The PI report was a bulletproof wall she couldn't scale, crack, or spin. The final settlement wasn't perfect. It wasn't cheap, but it was just. House sold, split 65/35. I kept the condo. My retirement remained mine. She got a year of minimal support, less than a quarter of what she wanted. I kept the cats. It cost me money, time, stress. But watching the realization dawn on her, that she wasn't getting the house, wasn't getting long-term support, wasn't walking away with half of everything, that expression alone was worth every penny. The day we signed the final papers, Alyssa stared at me across the table, eyes sharp with bitterness. "You're going to regret this," she said. "When you're alone and miserable, you'll regret letting me go." I met her gaze, calm in a way I hadn't been in years. "I'm already happier than I've been in a long time. You'll never find anyone like me," she shot back. I smiled, genuinely quietly. God, I hope not. 6 weeks after the divorce finalized, the silence in my condo didn't feel loud anymore. It felt peaceful. My cat slept curled on the couch. My career was steady and moving upward. I'd started seeing someone, a tax attorney named Rachel. Slow, honest, mature, nothing dramatic. No secrets humming beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Alyssa was struggling, burning through money, losing the men who once entertained her, working a retail job she resented. Last week she texted from a new number. "I know you hate me, but I'm sorry. I messed everything up. Please believe me." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I blocked the number. Some stories don't need closure. They just need to end. And mine finally had.